Hunter, I've got your Module 2 project, so let's take a look at it. Okay, here's the template. It looks like you're doing the first one, which is the wish list. So do your research. Here you got items here. So think about what inputs required for the user. You got to calculate the subtotal, tax, total purchase with tax and shipping. So use 6.5% for your tax. Use 5.99 for shipping. Okay, great. So your output must include name of the item, the price of the item, the subtotal, total tax, shipping fee, and just total cost with tax and shipping. All right, so yeah, I don't see anything here. So pseudocode, we'll do some math. Ask user to input quantities of each product. All variables, perform math equations, output all necessary details. On your pseudocode, you really should list what equations you're doing. You should say a total would be adding up the items. Tax would be the subtotal times 6.5%. This is very, very generic. I mean, I'll let it go. I won't deduct for the pseudocode, but this doesn't help you write the program much. It still leaves a whole lot that you got to figure out when writing the program. When your plan should help you know exactly what you do. So you can just look at your plan and then write the code and only make small changes. So, all right, output all necessary details. Let's see, heading, use idle, all the usual stuff. Output. So, okay, here's your code. That's very short code for this program. And here's your screenshot of your output is blank. I see nothing on your output there, which is not good signs. Let's see how many, the print function is not working properly, many values. You overuse the string and float functions to overcome this. You could add the amount of specific product customer order. You can send it out for beta testing, add more options, more products. Program crashes. So yeah, you're saying I can get the output. So you should come get help with this before you turn it in instead of just taking less points for it being off there. But let's copy this code and paste it and see what we can do with it. Well, first thing we see, and this could be copy and paste. Everything in your main statement should be indented the same. So that could just be, would you copy and paste this? And yes, when we run it, it does nothing. And the reason it does nothing is because you defined your main function, but you never told Python it was over. There, it's over. So now when I hit run, pops up the window. Here's an input state. How many copies of FIFA 21 Legends Edition do you want? One, please. How many World Cup Collector's card boxes? I'll take 3. How many Lego Star Wars Death Stars? 1 will be sufficient. And how many FC Barcelona? I'll put 0. And that's all the program does. All there is just 4 input statements asking how many quantities of these things you want. So I don't see any calculations. Your pseudocode says you was going to do some calculations. There are no calculations, and maybe it's because you couldn't get it to run because you hadn't put the end of your main function on there. But now that the end's there, you can move that down and add whatever calculations you're doing up here, and add those lines and the print statements that gives all the output that you was going to put on there. There is no print statements right now, so I wouldn't expect anything down here because the only thing there is just 4 input statements. It doesn't say to print anything. So looking at it, you're lacking quite a bit for the end of Module 2 project. It's like the test to see what you've learned here. You had the user input the numbers of how many they wanted, which would work if you would print out, you wanted 1 of these, 3 of these, 2 of these, or whatever with the prices. And then if you'd have calculated the tax and give the shipping, give the total price, but there's no calculations at all. So all of this is missing. You don't have any output. The only thing you had was just the 4 input statements. Quite a bit lacking there in your program. This is one of the larger programs. I've had some people turn this in and have 40 or 50 lines in this program, just because there's a lot to do. But that's okay. We're a few months in. We should be able to write bigger programs. So I'm going to put the grade on this. If you wanted to redo it, try to make it better and raise your grade, you're welcome to do it. You just have to let me know if you've updated your program. But be sure and look at all those parameters of what you have to have. And if you're stuck, don't just turn it in. Oh, well, I got 4 input statements. Email it to me. Say, Mr. Brock, why won't this run? I can say, oh, you didn't have an ending main statement. And then that would have fixed that. And you could have continued on until your next error you can't solve, right? So try to get your program to run, you turn in. It's worth a lot more points if it does something rather than nothing. All right, sir. I'll get this feedback to you, and we'll see you in class.